second, brother. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Success Secrets Revealed live stream show with your host today, Ronald Couming. Actually, I'm your host every day on this show because it's my show. I created this show after I have a radio show called Internet Marketing and Business Solutions with Ronald Couming, 1.7 million reach. Very grateful for my listeners. But because of COVID, the radio station isn't manning the station, so they're just running reruns. So I wanted to contribute to give back, so I had to pivot. So now I'm doing these lives, and I'm going to strip out the audio, send it to the station so they can do they can put it in a rotation, and you know, people will hear it there. But I can also do the live and speak with some amazing people like we have today. Eric Powers he's going to come on, and he's an amazing person who's doing so much for so many, who have done so much for so many. And we'll talk to him in a second after I introduce him. First, I want to introduce our sponsor. Our sponsor is my company, RCS Online Solutions, where we basically help business owners and entrepreneurs create that awareness that will create the opportunity they need. I mean, at the end of the day, you can have the best products, the best service, the best solutions, the best prices. If people can't find you, they can't flow you. They can't consider you, and they can't hire you, right? So online marketing, you have to have an effective and efficient online presence. And just as a quick side note, if you Google yourself or your business name and you come up on the first page, so what? No one's searching for you. No one's searching for your company's name. If they know you and your company's name, they're calling you. When they're doing a search, they're doing a search for the product solution that they're looking for, or the service. You need to come up on the first page for your product, solution, or service. If you're not, call me. I'll get you ranked before you pay me, okay? So now we're going to introduce, we have an amazing guest today with us. His name is Eric Lewis Powell, and I'm going to actually bring you on live screen as I read your bio, brother.
Power,
yeah. All right. Eric Lewis Power served honorably in the United States Navy from the years 2012 to 2002 to 2012, in which time Eric reached the rank of Petty Officer First Class. Eric served in Operation Iraqi Freedom, Operation Iraqi Freedom, and I put my glasses on too. Operation Iraqi
Freedom.
Operation Iraqi Freedom, Operation Enduring Freedom, and Operation Southern Watch. Man, thank you so much. Eric has a total of 7 deployments with 3.5 years in active combat zones. Since separating from the service, Eric began helping other veterans with their VA disability claims after securing his 100% permanent and total in 2012. A merchant at heart, Eric created Veterans Disability Help, LLC, while pursuing his first business degree. Since then, Eric has achieved his MBA and currently dedicates his full time as Chief Executive Officer of Veterans Disability LLC. There's a whole lot more to Eric than meets the eye, but let's just bring him on and interview him, and he can tell us a lot better. Eric, my brother from the West Coast.
What's up, man?
How are you doing?
I'm always amazing, you know. No matter what the world throws at me, and if you knew my morning starting at 4:12, the ability that I was able to make it on time for this interview, I had literally about 15 minutes ago. I was putting out a fire this morning.
Yeah.
And I stopped, and I was just like, oh. All right, now what do I have to do?
Good for you. And just so the listeners know, in all, openness, I texted Eric at 4:12 this morning, giving him the link. I didn't realize, I thought he'd get it when he woke up, right? He's West Coast, I'm East Coast. But naturally, he's a parent with a couple of children, right? Beautiful children as well. And so naturally, they have their phone next to him in case of an emergency. It didn't even dawn on me. So he texts me back, and I say, hey, well, what are you doing by your computer anyhow?
No, it was fun. I actually got to talk to my daughter this morning for about 30 minutes, and right afterwards, and I just couldn't go to sleep, and I had a lot to do. So, and I got a head start on today. So it was the universe saying, hey, dumbass, you need to hurry up and get up today. So it's okay.
So it was all for good, man. But so, Eric, tell us, please, man. I've known you for several years now.
Yeah.
You're heart of gold. You're doing so much to help so many. You've done, multiple tours. You've had years actually in theater. You're a great guy. You've done a lot for your country, and you're helping people who have done a lot for their country and are not being recognized and shown the respect that they're due. Can you please tell us a little bit more about who you are and what you do?
Sure, sweet man. You said it. I have, so I did 10 years in the service, active duty. Was enlisted, didn't do the officer route. Got out in 2012, and just kind of started figuring life out again at age 30. And, veterans, when we get out, we just kind of push to the curb. And, all the places I kind of went for help, was half-assed, and they just seemed like they didn't have my best interest in mind, and they just wanted to push me out the door. So, I'm a man of, solutions, CEOs and businessmen and women. Inherently, we're just decision makers and solution solvers and, solution problem solvers per se. And so I solved the problem that was in front of me. And in turn with that, I was able to solve all the other veterans' problems as well and create a pretty, solid system that we put our veterans through and our clients through to achieve an increase on their VA disability. Usually takes about 6 months to a year and a half to go through, but we do a very big, very detailed analysis at the beginning and come up with a solid plan and treat it kind of like a business and process all the paperwork from beginning to end. Where our clients just basically go to medical, do what we tell them to, and we go from there. And solving a solution or solving a problem that about 24 million people have. On top of that, I know it's easier said than done. We have a team of about all together right now 24 people. In-house, we have our headquarters out here where I'm at is about 3,200 square feet. And we have 8 new agents coming on actually next week on Monday. That's just how busy we are. We have 6 agents taking 3 to 5 calls a day. They're consistently booked out about 2 weeks out, right? And so we're bringing on 8 new agents next week, and putting them through the training so we can get to all the demand. We're getting about 300 veterans contacting us a week through organic leads. We don't spend much on marketing, so it's a very real problem, and we're opening up our second branch office. We've created a very big solution on a very real problem that 24 million veterans face, and when you find a solution to a big problem that people aren't wanting to face, and you just work it, it just proves itself. And the success of the company where we've grown, because we weren't as big as when me and you first met 4 years ago. We weren't as big. As we are now. We had a little tiny 500 square foot office, and I had me and maybe 2 other people on going, and now it's just kind of taken off. And then we're working actually one of the side things too. I think you had Greg on the show. Is me and him, he actually reached out to me, and we're doing a book for the personal development world as well. So
nice. Yeah, that's amazing. And you're right. I remember when we first met several years ago, you had an idea, and it was a great idea, and you were giving back, but you were at the beginning stages of it. Yeah. And now you have, dozens of employees and probably hundreds of success stories. But
we have a total of about 3,000 total clients. We have about 800 active clients. We get about 20 to 30 new clients a week. And then that's actually about to triple after about a month, because we're putting 8 new agents on the phones. And one of the things I had to do before we did that is increase my staff. And so I hired about 4 or 5 new people. We've been training them up during this pandemic and expanding. I actually leased the office next to us, and we put new desks and new cubicles in there. As we speak, one of my assistants, he's bringing in like stuff for the office. He's bringing in those water fountains, like you see behind me, maybe.
Yeah.
And so
Where's my office?
You're sitting in it.
Okay, good response. But you guys get some earthquakes. Wasn't there like a 5.5?
Yeah, we had a 5. As the fire I had to put out this morning, we had a 5.5 last night. And then my head trainer, she's never been in an earthquake, so she was super scared and panicking. So I was like, nope, when someone gets that way, they just need to go home and be with their family. So I put her, got her out home safe this morning, and we had to come up with a contingency plan for training next week, which we did because I have such a great team, and everybody knows how to do each other's jobs. So when we lose one person, we had a substitute go right in, and we're able to continue operations.
I love that, and that's probably something that came from your military training, having people multiply cross-trained. Like the medic goes down, what do you do?
Sure.
The radio guy goes down, somebody else needs to know how to use it, right?
Yep. So absolutely. So that's my entire office and my entire business plan and model plan. I run it exactly as I did when I was in naval aviation for 10 years, like I was taught. And the only difference is, instead of working on airplanes and working with air crew and working with flight systems and ejection seats and parachutes and all that fun stuff, I work with civilians and a couple other veterans, and we do work with VA claims. And so it's very easy for us to communicate, and very friendly for the veteran community. When they come in here, they feel at home. They see how on point we are. They talk to me. They get emails from me, and they see that it's very organized, systemized. They hear my story, and they see our success stories. Our real success stories. They see the guy we got the VA to approve back pay. I figured out a mistake they made, proved the mistake, and got them to pay back pay all the way back to 2001. The guy got $280,000 in back pay. Was getting when he came to us, he was getting about $100 a month, and his Social Security, and living in really, really small studio apartment. And we got him a check for $280,000 and $3,600 a month for the rest of his life, just because of how detailed and detail oriented and on point my team is.
Wow.
Myself and my team.
$3,600 a month now from a couple of hundred.
Yeah, it took us about 1.5 years, 2 years. It wasn't overnight, and it took a lot of work. But that's what we do. Like we do one thing and we do one thing well, and it's figure out how to get our clients paid for any disability compensation or any disability sustained, whether physical or mentally, in the VA in service. But not only do that, we take what they're already rated for, right, and then expand on that by asking them a series of questions, and then building a plan for them based on the answers to those questions.
I love it, man. I love it. What I really like about this is the numbers are great. The numbers are phenomenal. But behind every single one number is a human being.
Yeah.
And not just a human being, but a human being who served our country, a veteran, and who was mistreated or, wasn't given what he was entitled to. We're not looking about taking from anybody. This is something that they were entitled to.
Right. Yeah, you got to understand, when the veterans go to the VA directly or the DAV or wherever they're going, they're going to help you to an extent, but they're just going to do what's there, with the bare, right? And that's just who they're dealing with, because you're going to the person who's going to pay you. Like, I'm going to go, okay, yeah, I'll pay you, but I'm going to pay you this amount until you can prove otherwise. And that's where the VA wins and saves a butt ton of money, and the government saves a butt ton of money, because veterans, they don't know how to prove otherwise, but we do. So we build that, we figure out what we can prove, build a plan. It takes anywhere from 6 months to 1.5 years to 2 years to get a payout, but we have a pretty, as long as our clients do what we tell them to, and they're not fucking lying to us, excuse my language, then we'll get them, we should get them an increase. And if there's not, and we can't do anything for them, we're very upfront. We tell them, hey, can't do anything for you, sorry.
Nice. And how do if you don't pay them, they don't pay you up front, right?
Well, yeah, so we have 4 options to pay, either the back end or the upfront. Back end is, again, like, if they don't get an increase, then they don't pay us, but they don't get paid. But it's usually a more significant amount of the retro pay or of the increase. And if they pay us up front, it's just usually a one-time fee. And then that's it. We still do the same thing that we do on the back end. But when they get their back end payment, they don't have to they don't have to pay us because they chose the front. And so we give them options that whatever works best for our clients, and we let them choose if they want to work with us.
I love it. And again, you're not, this is something that they're entitled to, and you're helping them get what they're entitled to. This isn't a gift. We're not getting over. We're not taking from taxpayers. This is stuff that they were entitled to and got screwed out of.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I really like it. So let's be clear, anybody who is listening, we want to make sure that this isn't a freebie. This isn't a welfare thing. But so tell us a little bit more, if you want, about the type of people. Who would be the best type of person that could come to you, and like what would be the process? I want anybody who's listening.
Any veteran that's rated with their VA disability, or any veteran that has never applied for VA disability, that doesn't know how to do it, that doesn't know how to expand on what their current rating. If they're thinking about maybe, hey, I'm at 30%, do I qualify for more? If you're at 10% for your back, right? But every day you're in pain, your feet are numb, your knees hurt, you get radiating pain, you can't move, then yeah, that's expandable. There's other things that you can qualify for. And what the VA is not going to tell you is what you qualify for. That's what we do. We'll run you through our system, tell you what you qualify for, you build your plan to, gather the necessary evidence, process all the paperwork from beginning to end, respond with you to any communications, build all memos, any responses, and you guys, our clients just approve and sign. That's it, man.
Excellent. Now, aren't you writing a book?
Yeah. So, actually it's going to go into the personal development world and business world. It's called Be Kind to Your Future Self. It's with Dr. Greg Reed, if you know who that is.
Yeah, of course I know who he is. You know what I mean? If they're listening, he's been on my show. He's a fellow friend. He's Secret Knock. He wrote 3 Feet from Gold. Greg Reed's a great guy.
Yeah. So Greg's actually, he's been a personal mentor of mine over the last, I'd say 4 or 5 years now. He's been a mentor of mine, and so every time I've come into a roadblock that we all entrepreneurs, business guys come into, I picked up the phone, was at his house saying, hey, what would you do? And everything he did, I never doubted, just as we were in the military. And I just, like, he was my skipper. I would, like, when I was in the military, whatever my skipper said, blind faith, no matter what. Go march that bullets right there and shoot those guys, I would go do that, wouldn't ask questions. And so when I looked at him the same way from the very first time we met, no matter what he said to do, even though how angry it made me or what it was, he was where I wanted to be. And so I just listened and emulated his actions, and we went from literally making our first year out, we made like 120,000. That was me and one other person. Our second year, we hit like $250,000, and that was 5 years ago. And we're on track to do about 2.5 million this year.
Wow.
So, and we're just growing. And as the company grows, I'm just really just reinvesting the money back into the company and duplicating. Right.
Yep.
You find something that works. And it works, and you just got to add gas to the system. So that's basically what we're doing now.
I love it. And at 2.5, is there, do you have a broom? Can I come over there and sweep the floor or something, brother?
Yeah, well, my director loves it because she's, my assistant, the director of the company, Emily, she's the one who really is on the front lines and making sure everybody works and dealing with the clients one-on-one. I sit here and I do all the specifics and growth of the company and seeing the future. So she's really the backbone of the company, her and the team. But no, as a thank you, I was able, which really gave me an awesome feeling. I was able to buy her a company car, a BMW, and just kind of say, hey, thank you for doing an amazing job. Here you go. You know what I mean?
Yep. I love it, man. I saw that up on Facebook too. That was cool, brother.
Yeah.
That was cool. You're doing well, man. You have a couple of beautiful daughters, a wife, and life is going good for you as well. You know what I mean? Plus, you're contributing to other people, man. So I love it all.
Well, it's really about the universal laws and just abiding by them, man. And the world, what's happening is people are starting to realize that, hey, the universe is real, and hey, there are universal laws in this thing called karma, whether it's good or it's bad. And so the more you do for other people, because we're all basically just computers and we run off each other's energy, right? So the more good you do, the more good the universe is gonna get back to you, and the universe isn't gonna reward somebody that's not worth a damn, right? So if you're doing something that's not worth a damn, right, you're gonna get paid for that. But if you want to be something, if you want to achieve success, and you want those dreams, and you want those sports cars, you want that life, you got to figure out, and you got to look at your, we talk about it in our book, you have to look at your immediate circle and look at your life and what are you doing? Like, are you sitting at home playing games all day? That's not worth a damn, right? Unless you're the Fortnite player and you win the $2 million fucking challenge, right? Then it's worth a damn, right, for that one person. But realistically, is it worth a damn? And the universe will reward you efficiently when you start honestly from the core of who you are, being kind to everybody and doing something that's worth it, if that makes any sense.
It does. Makes a lot of sense, and it's true. I love it. And I also like how you talked earlier about when you first met Greg Reed, how you wanted to kind of emulate what he was doing. You put yourself in the room with people, him and others, who are operating at a level higher than yourself that you wanted to get to. I want the listeners to understand that if you're the smartest person in your room, you're in the wrong room.
Absolutely. So absolutely, you hit the nail on the head. And there was a time when I first went to Secret Knock, like 4 or 5 years ago. Let's backtrack. Before I went to Secret Knock, because you have to be invited. It's not publicly. It's not like a Grant Cardone event. They don't just publicly sell tickets, right? You have to be invited to this event, and then you're invited to buy a ticket, and the ticket's for 2 days, and it's $3,000 for 2 days. So it's a pretty steep event. We really keep monitor on who we come because of specifically the ties to the business community and the leaders and the fucking speakers that, excuse my language, but the speakers that Greg brings into the house. And so I was just starting out in business, like my first year, second year, and I had bought Ty's program. Because I didn't have any, I never aspired to be a businessman. I never did anything like that. I was fine working in an executive position with my degree in the military. I was fine with that. It's just the problem pissed me off, and I wanted to solve it. And I wanted to help my brothers and sisters. But in business, if you're just starting out and you don't know what to do, and you need to meet people, you go to an event. And I did Ty's 67 steps things, and there he said go to an event. So I'm like, okay, I don't know whose event to go to, but I went to Ty's event. And then I actually just positioned myself, met him, introduced myself, told him what he did, how he helped me and changed my brain a little bit. He held onto my hand, said, testimonial. Next day, he asked me to speak on a panel. Spoke on the panel. A kid that worked for Greg asked me, he tried to sell me a ticket, which he did, and invited me to Secret Knock. Met him, had about $4,000 or $5,000 in my account that day that I met him, and I bought into an $8,000 2-day proximity, like his 2-day event that he does. That's very like 20 people, the mastermind
at his house, right?
Yeah, at his house. And there I bought into this, where we went around the world, and I didn't actually have the money when we did this. When we were doing this book, which was going around and interviewing, people who were worth 7, 8, 9 figures, billionaires, just interviewing them to figure out how to do that. And I remember the day of his event, where I'm surrounded. I'm at this beautiful, mansion estate. I had literally $100 bucks, 120, 27 bucks in my account. Nothing really. I had just lost a bunch of money. Actually, the event that you came to, lost that event. Yeah, I lost my fucking ass on that money. I lost all my money. I was negative, and I went in the hole. I had to end up having to borrow like $50,000. Lost all my money. Lost my money. And I went to his event and had $127. My partner, who won't say his name, right? But he kind of screwed me. Didn't pay me a dime. And just was in this deep pit. And so I didn't have money when I committed to this. I committed to like a $15,000 thing to go on this to learn. And I didn't have the money. I made like the first payment. I couldn't make the second payment. And I ended up saying, hey, but I can work for you. and I can film, I can do your videography because I know how to use my resources. And one of my good friends owns his own video, production company, and so I just banked on him helping me. And there were so many times that he worked with me, and we did a $10,000-$15,000 job for nothing, for our trip, for the cost of an Airbnb and food, and I just kept doing that with him and just kept adding value. And at the same time, I'm doubly. Yeah, I'm going into debt. Yeah, I'm owing my friend money, and I paid him all back, in turn, right? But now I'm going there, and I was actually going around with him, and instead of just ghosting him and not saying anything and saying, hey, I don't have the money, but still trying to work it out and facing this problem, I was able to, exchange what I can offer and kind of like do a trade. But now I had all the footage of every single interview, and the only two people that have it are Greg and myself and my production team. And so now at any point in time, there's been many times where I'd go back and just rewatch the footage and say, hey, what did I miss? What did I miss? What did I miss? Take notes. Next time I watch it, I pick up a nugget.
Yeah.
And build, a great friendship with Greg and the SK team, and have been able, it's been a blessing to help, produce and produce that event and his events, and be a part of this book, be a part of, Power of Proximity as well, and being there, and then actually now be working on a book with just me and Greg, and then hopefully next year I'm going to do my own book.
Good for you, man. You're rocking it. And I remember that whole situation, and you came out shining, brother. You know what I mean? You fought back, and that wasn't an easy time, but you put you found a way to make it work. You persevered. And that's what, a lot of people say. It's very rarely is it about lack of resources or lack of revenue. It's about lack of resources, right? So you might not have the revenue, but there might be resources. Right. So sometimes it's a mental thing, right? And you clocked it, and you said, well, I can't do this. I want that. I want to get next to him and everybody he's next to. Right. And then you found a way to make it happen. So you had to be resourceful. So you didn't have the resources, but you were resourceful, right, and you made it happen.
Yes, sir.
I love it, man.
And that's what a lot of people forget, that they call me, because I get pinged a lot. They just forget how to use around them. But in the military, I thank God for the 10 years and the universe guided me to join the military when I did, in my 10 years in my 20s that I did in the military, because they taught me how to be on point. They taught me how to operate at such a high level I didn't know I was operating at. And then when you come, this is the problem with veterans. When they come out, and I'm going to sum it up right here, and this is how, if every veteran were to realize this, when they come out of the military, they're operating on such a high level compared to normal civilians, right? They're operating on the 1% level. The same level I operate on, all the multi-billionaires operate on every day. When you come out of the military, you're operating on that level. The normal civilian world is way the fuck down here, and there's that big gap, and veterans don't know how to do that, and they're going back into normal society. If they would just realize they're already operating up here, they just need to figure out how to get up there and listen to those people instead of staying down here. And all that depression and I don't fit in and all that shit will go away like it did with me when they start operating their own command and realize, hey, I'm in charge of my life. The military's not going to come in and pull you out of your house and put you on, if you do this wrong, you're not going to take pay away. You're not going to do anything that. You just got to be,
I love that analogy, that they're operating at this level. Civilians, regular people are operating at this level, and they erroneously think that they because they don't fit in here, and they're trying to fit in here, and they have all those feelings of insecurity and all that. But what they really need to do is to be looking up, not down. Yep. Looking up, because they're already on a higher level, and they need to.
Yeah, and that's where the government wins, man. Is they train you to operate at such a high level for such a low amount of pay, and then they give you the natural securities of life, and they give you a comfortable feeling and have you around your same amount of people who are okay with this. And so you're naturally, we're all programmed to accept our surroundings. That's why in the Power of Proximity you talk about, hey, birds of a feather flock together. If you want to be someone around, you're the average of the five. Your income is the average of the 5 people you hang out around with. I'm the spitting image of that. 3 years ago when we went to that thing right here, when this started, I had $127 in my account. Now we're on track doing, I had just lost like $70,000-$80,000, and then I had to borrow money and then went into debt about $400,000, and now we're debt free, and we're on track to do $2.5 million this year, and we're opening a branch office and bringing on new employees. We have 3,200 square feet, 24 people, 23 people. I don't know the exact number.
I love it, man. But that's definitely there's so many stories of perseverance and being resourceful and surviving and mental and emotional strength. Is there anything you'd like to tell the listeners in closing?
Don't give up. Like shit's, you'll hit walls and you'll want to give up, and there'll be times you want to put a fucking gun to your head. Just push through that and just go, and don't fucking have hit side reactions. And 9 times out of 10, everything will be okay. And if it's not okay, then you learn to make it okay. But if you have a goal, just don't give up. And boot camp, you couldn't quit. You got to quit. If you quit, you got kicked out. That's the problem with people. It gets tough. And the easiest thing to do is quit and go back to where you were. Get uncomfortable. The more uncomfortable you are, then you be uncomfortable for a month, it becomes comfortable. Then get uncomfortable again, it becomes comfortable. Get uncomfortable again, it becomes comfortable. Keep doing that, and eventually, if your ultimate goal in life is to have a, Jaguar F-Type and just drive that bitch every day, you'll get that. Your ultimate goal is to have an a Ferrari or whatever the fuck you want in life, excuse my language. You'll get it. It'll come. Don't rush. Stay focused on one thing. Don't get distracted. There's so many things. That's why we're writing books.
I love it, brother. I love it. All right, man. I want to say thank you so much. I'm going to close out the show now, and then I can come back and talk to you if you're still here. All right. Everyone, that was an amazing episode by Eric Lewis Power, and he helps veterans. He's a veteran himself. He's served multiple theaters, multiple combat, 3.5 years, worked, his butt off in the service, serving our country, came out, and now he's helping veterans who have not gotten treated the way they should be, right? They get one level of treatment from the VA or wherever they go seeking the assistance that they should be getting. They're not getting what they're supposed to get. He comes in, he helps them get what they're supposed to get. He's literally changing the lives of every single one of those persons. Every single one of his success stories is a human being. On top of that, every single one of those success stories is a veteran. They served our country. The reason we can do what we do, the way we live our lives, is because of the veterans. So I love what he does, man. And he's one of the most authentic people you'll ever meet. So if you don't know Eric, check him out. His website's below here at veteransdisabilityhelp.com. My name is Ron Couming. You've been listening to Success Secrets Revealed. The sponsor of the show is RCS Online Solutions, where we help business owners and entrepreneurs achieve even greater success by attracting, converting, and retaining their ideal customers and clients using various internet marketing techniques and methods. Have a great day, everyone.